I'm doing Venice, and Venice is like got a bunch of different styles on it. We were trying to get to Dre's ear when I had Venice, but he wasn't feeling it at the time. And I did go on Sway and do some stuff. Like I was very much, my style it wasn't cohesive back then. It was like I would have a song with autotune, then I would have a future funk song, then I would have house. It was all over the place. And then I met Knowledge, this producer, through Twitter again. Wow. And he had remixed one of the songs that I had out. It was actually like a Breezy Lovejoy song that I had out before Venice, like from my mixtape, PYP. And he had that remix. He was another kid that was in the beat scene and was doing remixes and all this stuff. And I was a big fan of him. He was big on Bandcamp. So he was like, again, another indie thing, wasn't doing the whole streaming thing. He was like straight direct to his fans, making money that way. And I was buying all his stuff from Bandcamp, and then he reached out and I was like, oh, sick. And that back then was like the equivalent of like getting hit up by Dre. Like I was a big fan of him as well. And he was like, let's work. And he sent me like 100 beats. And Suede was one of those beats. And I was recording at Dumbfounded Studio that he let me use. And that's when I wrote that song. I remember after I wrote it, it was like the chorus is like, if I call you a bitch, it's because you're my bitch. And as long as someone else call you a bitch, then there won't be no problems. And if I call you a trick, it's because you paid rent. And then
you need me to remind you the lyrics.
Exactly. Sorry, it's been a minute. Yeah. But I was like a little on the fence about this song. I was like, is this too much? His music put me in this like pimp, like from Mississippi and like this blaxploitation kind of feel, and it brought out that gritty tone that I had been kind of flirting with.
Do you know Van Hunt?
Yeah.
So I was a huge Van Hunt fan, and to me, when I heard that, I was like, "Oh, it's got that Van Hunt."
Yeah, and people used to always be like, "You and Van," you know?
Yeah.
I really leaned into that with his production, and we got signed to Stone's Throw as a duo, and they put Suede out. That was the first single, and then that was like making its rounds, and everyone was like,
that song is
you're that kid that does Suede. And I was like, cool, this is happening. And that was my first deal, you know, and it was with a group, but I was like, hey, at least I'm signed. And that made its way to Dre. So that song got to Dre's ears through his writers that he was working with at the time, which ended up being Compton, but he was working with these writers, Mez and JT, and they were like, come to the studio, Dre wants to meet you, blah, blah. And I almost didn't go because I didn't think it was legit. Back then, everybody would be saying Dre wants to work because it was Detox. And for years, you know, this mythical album that never came out was like a thing that everyone was working on. So at that time, I was like, I'm doing my own thing. I don't want to, I'm not a writer for other people. Like, I'm not going to do it. Like
all the fear talk.
Yeah, all the fear talk.
Well, you can create a really compelling reason. You can buy into it.
Exactly.
Yes, but you buy it. It's like, it's logically sound.
Yeah.
You can trick yourself. And you're just scared as shit.
I was.
Because your hero just invited you over.
Like top of the tops. Number one, that's the top. So I had put it out my mind that I would even meet him. And then when they said he wants to meet you, this and that, I was like, nah. And then they begged me and I went and I met him. And I was like, whoa, he's just 10 foot tall.
For the listener, he just pointed at me.
No,
that was
you didn't
nice.
need to
He's like
say
you, a giant amongst men.
That's great. No, I need the
Dax,
listener
you could
now.
just let that
But yeah, he met me, and then, you know, met him in DLC, and they're just chilling. And then I go in the studio and meet the writers. They're like, we love Suede. And I'm like, cool, let's work. And they're like, we want Dre to hear the song. I'm like, he hasn't heard it yet? And they're like, no. I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe I want to get kicked out. Like, what if he doesn't like it? Like,
I can imagine the anxiety of the situation when you're in the room while he's listening to it. Do you look at him or do you look somewhere else and try to peep him out the corner of your eye?
I was looking at his feet. I looked at his feet. And that's why I realized he wears the same shoes every day. He wears white Air Force Ones. I was like, yeah, that's crazy. That's Dre's fit. Yeah. And he's like blasting it. And I look up and he's like, play it again. You know?
Oh.
Then he goes like this, like this.
Double thumbs up.
Double thumbs up. He's like, let's work. It's gangster.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Do you replay that ever in your mind?
All the time.
You do? Yeah.
All the time. There's
these little moments, right? And they're generally, I think, before you, quote, made it. And they don't really get better.
Yeah, they don't.
And I got to imagine that's got to be, I mean, close to the pinnacle.
It was the hugest thing. And they were like, don't tell anyone about this? And I mean, I told everybody as soon as I left. He wears Air Forces. He was banging my shit. He loved to play it 12 times. I'm on.
Double thumbs
Don't
up.
talk to me. I'm on, bro. Just letting you know that we're done.
There's a new me,
There's a new me.
and it don't include you.
I changed a lot. Yeah, so I was on top of the world, and they just kept, inviting me back.
And you end up on 6 tracks.
Yeah, there 6 tracks. And I would have never thought Dre would have put his album out before I did. And I was like, I had Venice out before that. And then he put out Compton. And so then I was just like on a rocket after that. And everyone was like, who's this kid? And before that, I couldn't buy a deal.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, yeah, it's Dre, this guy, this and that. And I wasn't signed still. And I was just this, I had Malibu, like, in the oven.
That didn't come out on Aftermath, though, right?
Nah.
He let you put that out even though he was about to sign you.
Yeah, he was, he was doing his thing. He was very busy, and with the movie and with everything, they had just like did the Apple deal and everything. So, and after that, I was just starting to tour and stuff. And so I was kind of like, I was taking meetings and everything, but I knew in my heart, like, I'm not going to sign anybody else unless Dre, Dre gave me the chance. So
He brought you to the dance.
Yeah, I'm going to go with him. So, but yeah, he was taking his time. So I was like, okay, I'm going to put this album out indie with the same people I did. And it was really a blessing because, now I got those masters, and it's that album really changed everything for me.
So fucking good, that album.